Alright guys, in my last video, I said that we were gonna get the motor running, we're gonna be driving it, but I showed you guys I got a new stator and everything, so off camera I took the motor off, split it, went to go put the new stator in, but was the wrong stator. So, I got some parts for the buggy instead. So for the time being, I'm gonna find a shop or someone that'll work on this and just get it running. I just want it running. I got too many projects and all that stuff on the go. So if you're wondering what's in these boxes, these are a bunch of buggy parts. I'll do a little unboxing here. I'll show you guys. Oh, that's gay. It's leaking everywhere. Damn, dude. I'm gonna be stepping in freaking oil. This is the old oil cooler. This is the new oil cooler. Don't really need to upgrade it. Like, I could use this one, but I just wanted to relocate everything so it's more accessible. I can put fans in front of it and stuff like that. This is one of the things I'm really excited for. So as you know, this is the rad we ran on the buggy. It worked, but the buggy did run a little warm. So, old rad, new rad. Look at the difference. This is an all aluminum 3-core rad. The only reason why I went with such a big rad, like this is kind of overkill. This one's big enough where if I have it located like behind the seats or somewhere where it doesn't get a lot of airflow, you know, the fan itself and just the coolant running through all 3 cores should keep it cool. And here, this is the coolant overflow. This was the old coolant overflow that we ran with the other rad. I mean, this would work fine, but I'm going with an aluminum rad. I kind of want a nice aluminum overflow. It's all about the upgrades, you know? It's all about the upgrades. And then last but not least, so before we just had the stock fuel tank on top of the motor, like bike fuel tank, and everyone thought that I had an outboard motor in this because of the fuel tank. It looks kind of like the top of an outboard motor.
Man, do I sound like an idiot.
Guess what? We had to go with aluminum too. Got a nice aluminum fuel cell. So this is the stock fuel tank. It's still got fuel in it. The fuel pump and everything is mounted in the bottom there. So I'm gonna end up just cutting a hole in the bottom of this and putting in that whole fuel pump and everything, just so I don't need to run an external fuel pump or anything like that. Now the fun part is finding where I'm gonna put all this stuff on the buggy. You guys wanna know what's better than duct tape? Zip ties. I swear, it's a man's best friend. So I got my rad kinda hung up by zip ties where I want it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a bar that comes up, bends, follows this, and then bends kinda like how this one is. I'm gonna make mounting tabs off it for the rad, and then for the fuel cell, I'll make a bar that comes across here, it'll dip down, to utilize those mounting tabs, and the same on this side. Oh my God, look at this. Zip ties everywhere. Get out of here. It's really nice because the fuel pump is gonna be installed in the bottom of the tank, like I mentioned, and here's my fuel side of the motor, so it'll be nice and close. We're so close to being able to take this thing for a rip. Hopefully it drives as good as it looks. 'Cause I swear to God, if it doesn't drive as good as it looks, done. I already know I'm gonna need a sway bar, but I want to test drive it without a sway bar and with a sway bar just to see what difference it makes. But let's bust this tubing bender out, bend some tube. got the rad supports welded in. I just need to make some little tabs that come off here, bolt to the rad, Weld them to here, get the rad bolted on, and then we don't need all these zip ties. And then we'll move on to the fuel cell. It's freaking looking deadly! Those temporary shock tower mounts that I had here, I knew I'd find a use for them. So we'll just use these as tabs. We'll just cut them off somewhere here and bolt them on, weld them. Easy. Okay, I got the rad all in place, got those tabs welded on. Now, I have this fuel cell hanging about where I want it with zip ties. I think this will be really easy because I thought I'd have to have a bar come out and bend down and everything. But I could probably just put a bar straight across from here and then mount those. Perfect! Fucking neat! But before we get this mounted in, I would like to get the fuel pump installed in the bottom of this and everything. Once this bar is in here, if I want to take this fuel cell out, I'll have to take the rad out and then that can come out. So we'll get the fuel pump put in here. Got some tabs made. Now the only thing left is I gotta build a brace. I think I'm gonna come off of here and then have a tab that comes under here. And then they're both mounted. This whole thing is actually looking pretty deadly. Everything's nice and centered. Oh shit! I made that. I made it. I made that thing. Shit, man. Shit, man. Shit, man. Oh. Wired back up. Figured you guys didn't want to see that. That's just boring stuff. When I was building all this tubing and stuff, I accidentally dropped one of the tubes. It fell on the motor and it actually broke one of the injectors off, or injector plugs off. There's 8 injectors in this motor, so there's idle ones and then there's ones that kick in after I think 8,000 RPM. So I think that's one of the ones I broke off, but I got a new one coming. Moment of truth, we're gonna try to put some fuel in this tank. Fingers crossed it doesn't leak, and then maybe we'll see if it starts. I hope this thing doesn't leak. Oh my god, I just spilled it all over the outside. God damn, dude. Why'd I fill my jerry can so full? Oh, so far no leaks. No leaks yet. So I don't have coolant in it or anything. I still need to do one of the coolant hoses, but we should be able to get it to fire. So far so good. Oh, did you hear that? Primed. Well, it started. Might be that missing injector. I guess I gotta wait for that injector. Unless I forgot to plug something in. Alright, next on the build list. We need to hook this shifter up to something. Because it's not hooked up to anything right now. It was hooked up by cables. The reason why I had it hooked up as cables, because when I had the swing arm kit, I couldn't have like a mechanical shifter because the whole back end pivoted. So now we can finally make a mechanical shifter, which I'm really excited for because it'll make the shifts a lot more solid. So here's the shifter here. I need to make a linkage that comes from here. It'll go behind. And then I think I'm gonna do a pillow block here and a pillow block over here with a rod going through. And then I'm gonna CNC cut some brackets to weld onto the rod. I'll just show you. It's a lot easier to show you than explain. So I got these pillow blocks mounted on. I just have one bolt on. So I have this shaft through there, so it'll spin. So I need to make a little tab that comes off like that. So when it spins, it goes like this and it pushes the shifter and shifts it into gear. So I kind of drew up this. So this hole will be the same size as this, and then it'll slide over, and then I can weld it on, kind of be like that. And then it'll frickin' coagulate in there, you know, and push stuff and move stuff and hopefully change gears. Let's cut this out on the CNC. Alright, I got my tabs on the bar. They're not welded or anything. So this tab, it'll probably go around there. And then this bar, I'm gonna weld a nut on each end so I can screw these and adjust the length. That will connect to that. And this end will connect to that end. And then I'll make another big one of these for that side. The reason why I made this tab have one on the top and one on the bottom, because so when it goes to the shifter, whatever, if I go to the upper hole or the bottom hole, it'll change whether it's one click forward for first and the rest back, or one click back is first and the rest are forward. So I can change that by changing those holes. Mint! She's coming together. Got that bar in there. It's just sitting in there rough. I'm just kind of figuring out where it's straight so I can tack it on, weld it up, and then that tab over there. Hopefully it works. All right, guys. Got myself a popsicle. So that's on. Those tabs are welded on. I made a little bar, right like that. Just kind of, you know, it works. So now we just need to make a tab that welds on to this bar there to connect to there. These are my favorite. About 6 of them a day. Keeps you healthy. All right, welcome to the driver's seat. I just made a little tab out of a piece of flat bar. I didn't fire up the CNC for it. Took 2 seconds. So let's see if it works. So one click forward. First gear. Check it out. And then we'll go back. Second, third. Come on. There we go. Fourth, fifth, sixth. Look at that. Shit, man, that's sick. Great success. I tell you what, it works. My math worked. I got a few things I'm waiting for an injector. Gotta finish the one rad hose, just a bunch of little stuff. In the next video, this is gonna be running and moving. I promise. That's gonna be it for this video. If it ain't broken, don't fix it. But if it ain't upgraded, upgrade the damn thing, you know? See you guys in the next one.